So, I think this is going to be a fairly short tape. This is Friday, April 5th. A year ago today, I was in jail for having attitude in Canada, democracy. Threw me in jail for being impolite to a perjuring, lying cunt. They wanted to give me 2 years in a federal penitentiary for that. And then some. Can't just be going around having attitude in Canada. It don't matter about truth, you gotta be polite. They're gonna learn me my manners, these jurists. But I don't think I'm gonna learn too much from people who can't add 19 and 19 and get a right answer 100% of the time. You know, I don't think I'm gonna learn much from people who read at 4 words a minute and don't mind invoicing $400 an hour to do that. I don't think I'm going to learn much from individuals who sell their thoughts for pence, their decisions for cloakroom hand jobs. A little extra blow on the weekend. So, I'm noticing these same ghouls in the United States. I believe it's California. Now, get this. Every young boy's heart's desire is to drive a car. Just to drive a car. Every young boy. And so there's a lot of young boys without dads in California. And they have all the same urges and desires that kids with dads have. So, my dad was far from an exemplary specimen of fatherhood, and I don't think he would argue this if he were still vertical. But he, as flawed a father as he was, he didn't show up at my baseball games, he didn't do any of that stuff, but what he did do was from the time I was 3 or 4 years old, from the time I was able to ask the question, he let me sit on his knee and steer the car. And by the time I was 12 years old, he was letting me drive his car around the neighborhood, not downtown or anything, but around the neighborhood. I don't know how, but around the neighborhood, to my heart's content, Saturday afternoons and, whatever else the mood struck me. So I had access to a car to drive from the time I was 12 years old. Now, if I didn't have that, and I had the hunger to drive a car, and not only that, not only do I have the hunger to drive a car, I have a hunger to drive a nice car too. And so, understanding that I don't have a dad and I'll never be able to afford a nice car, I'm just going to steal one. Just see what it's like. So, I think I would have been in that class of individual. Stealing a car was, friends of mine were doing it. I had no idea why, but I just never went along for the ride. It was never interested me. That would probably be pretty much the same as sex and everything else in life. It's certainly the same with cocaine, I'll tell you. If you got a couple pounds of cocaine, the thought of walking across the street to get some is not... you might walk across the street at noon, but you get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and go looking for it. I said, or if you've ever had, any type of, quantity of any kind of addictive substance, that sooner or later the substance itself gets boring and you get tired of it. And you prefer things the way they are. And they found this in England with heroin studies. Generally, people would last about 10 years on heroin, pure heroin, given to them by the government, $6 a week or whatever. And so these people had jobs and continued to have a life and everything else. They had no criminal records, and they weren't stealing. And so when I remove every asset from every arms manufacturer on this planet, and when we remove every asset from every legal construct or individual on this planet, and when we remove the assets from corrupt politicians and thieves, I think there'll be plenty of cash around to buy a whole bunch of young boys a brand new car. Understand? My dad, as I mentioned, it was not a prince among men. But he was a dad. And he did an adequate job. Not an inspired job, but let's say adequate. And my dad was a homosexual. And so it was very hard for him to do an adequate job because, he hated the fact that he was trapped in this marriage, to a woman who just irritated him. Didn't irritate him when he was trying to get into her pussy, but afterwards she started irritating him. And so, so he had a very unhappy life his whole life. Periodically he would have liaisons with young men once in a while when he thought no one was looking. But and his brother as well was gay and didn't come out of his closet until about a year or two before he died. His whole life he had to hide, afraid if people knew the truth of him, they would hate him and reject him. So he, settled for diddling little boys in Northern Ontario Indian community. He was a brother, a Christian brother, Catholic Christian brother. And, I don't believe he hurt any of those boys. He used to come down for holidays and stuff. He'd bring them down from Hudson's Bay to my dad's house. And, but, I have no idea, if he was fucking him or whatever. But he was certainly charged with him anyway. He incidentally did not do any jail time. At all. And there's a whole host of young men who made those claims about him, but he was never imprisoned. Yet we are imprisoned for things that, crimes that never happened, clearly never happened. The alleged complainant says, look, this guy never hurt me. I thought he was my best friend. Wow, suspicious kid. Obviously he's deluded. Got a year for that. And got 30 days for threatening death on a young lady and her son. And 2 years for kissing a little boy's penis for a second. I bit that boy's bum, blew tummy farts, bit his lips, ears, toes, his whole life. And so, I kissed his penis for a second. By his own admission, he thought that I thought he was asleep. He said, his statement was, Uncle Blake never would have had the nerve to do that if he thought I was awake. And so a 1 second kiss on a penis, which the police translate into a 5-minute kiss on a penis, which now reads 3-minute kiss on a penis. So why would they have to lie about the length of duration? I mean, the child himself, basically, the child himself said, so he didn't do it long enough to wake me up, that's for sure. So why would a grown man kiss a little boy's penis for 1 second? Particularly a grown man who's, who thinks of sex in terms of hours, right? And women will testify. It's like quickie sex with me is about 5 hours, 4 or 5 hours. And good sex, 12, 14, 18 hours. So, if you want to be the reasonable guy, you got to be the reasonable guy with my education and my origination capabilities. And none of you are. You're worshiping your lies, and it's disfiguring you. It's got you so you're so stupid. You can't see that you're stupid. And so I get to be embarrassed for you. Allah gets to be embarrassed for you. Your mother gets to be embarrassed for you. Maybe someday you will be too. Have a nice day. So what we talking about here? So these kids in the United States, in California, you got these. YouTube's almost worse than having a TV for me. I don't own a TV. I don't want a TV. But YouTube is, really beginning to irritate me. Like, I noticed there's some law enforcement superstars in California who are, the bottom line is they're entrapping young boys into stealing cars or leaving cars open with the keys in. Don't bother about things like entrapment anymore. That's technical. Kids want to steal cars, well, we'll bust them and throw them in jail. Welcome to life, son. Fuck you, motherfuckers. You rotten fucking motherfucking cops. Just whose fucking children do you think you're fucking with? Your guns and your 100 pounds of weight on them and your high-powered vehicles and your radios. Got nothing fucking better to do with your time than entrap little boys with their heart's desire. You fucking perverts make me fucking sick. You fucking make the Canadian dildos look like motherfucking Teresa, you cockroach fucking pricks. It's nothing personal, just business. Well, policing didn't start out as a business. And it's very, very, very bad when it turns into one. For any population that's subject to this. Results in bonus-based, KRA, bonus-based policing constructs are haram. And you know this. This is not something new. You just got so fucking expedient, so used to buying each other's farts of wit that it looks normal to you. Whoring jurists, 100 fucking % of you. And you got these lunatic, Mongo, gag-a-maggot fucking dildos on steroids and speed running around chasing young boys for wanting to take a drive in a car. You know what? When we're done removing every fucking set any jurist or any jurisprudential construct has any claim to whatsoever for the crown of our people, once that is a fait accompli, as it were, what should I do with you? law, as you practice it, is over as well. So you got no income. And a very, very difficult history to overcome among our people. It may never happen, I'm not sure. But you bugger our people to your own cost. You're just too busy bugger humping life to notice any truth or connect the dots that are either going to provide salvation for you or get you rhythmed up with worms. Like, I wanted to, be somewhat subtle or somewhat kind of gentle in our approach to this issue. We are your King of Kings, incidentally. This is the last day, and the music has stopped, and you are standing where you are right now. No more time left to repent. You got what you got where you stand. All the stolen stuff, all the miserable, conniving bullshit stuff you've prevaricated in your life is going to weigh you down. You can either get used to living in hell, or you can prosecute the king's barf as if your life depended on it, and you may be able to stretch some wits somewhere in creation to your positive interest, but you certainly will not be swaying mine. I gotta clean up this fucking mess. I gotta temper the fact that I started, but, like, you really burn my ass. Goddamn fucking niggers, all of you. Oh, and incidentally, nigger has nothing to do with the color of your skin, assholes. It has to do with the color of your heart. My name means black in Celtic. But I do not have a black heart. You do. You want to wrestle with me? Come on. I'm easy to find. I'm your dad. Your mom's around. And she's none too happy with me or you. Especially me, but the thing is, this is the last day, and you got some choices. You're sentient, you're human, you're imaginative, you can cognize fraud. It's your dermapat. Your 15 minutes of fame are going to happen. There's going to be nothing remain hidden at all. Anywhere. Poof. The boogeyman is gone. National security is no longer an issue. You'll not be stealing any shit from nobody no more, and you'll be putting back the stuff you have stolen. So, all that conniving, killing, and fucking maiming, anything that's stolen, you're not going to want. It will be not worth it for you. But you're gonna still cling to that shit. And so you're gonna mark my words now. You're gonna remember the things that I've said to you, and you're gonna go through the process that I've outlined. It's required curriculum for 100% of humanity. Here's your choice. Choose. You either get to worship the true. Big difference between worship and accept or look at or peek at. Worship, literally worship the true. Inside yourself. That's where you start. And communicate your findings to your fellows. But no more strangers around here. You do not get to come to the promised land as a stranger. And you don't even see paradise as a stranger. It doesn't exist for you. My paradise is right here, right now, waiting for me. We have 2 wives, and hopefully 3. And I don't get to be with them, you dumb fuckers, until I get you well on the way to health. I don't like the way Alice sets things up quite frequently. But I obey now. I didn't always, but I do now. You will too. By the time you see what your belligerence and your bullshit costs you, you'd be like a converted alcoholic, believe you me. But not yet. First, you gotta choose. You want to worship yourself, or you want to worship the truth, which you should be cognizant of will lead you to God. It will not lead you to Carl Sagan's bum, nor Richard Lincoln's penis. As much as Ricky Dinkins would love to have you land there. An individual spent his whole life being jealous of the tall, good-looking guys getting the girls. So much so that some 40 years after he's out of any contention for a sperm donor whatsoever, he's fiddling around with his friend's sperm donor company and seeking through the records to see what kind of guys girls actually choose for sperm donors. Right from his own mouth, he's telling us this. He can't deny it. And so, what he found was the guys that girls choose as sperm donors are just like me, the nice guys that Mom would like you to hang out with. What he fails at how it is sure, everybody wants to marry Grandpa until they see him. Oh, considerate, listening, You understand? Likes symphonic music, likes children, likes dogs. You understand? It's worth $40 million. Blah, 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 blah. Whatever. Understand? Like, so you're sexually malfunctioning. You're spiritually dead, most of you. And you go to witch doctors in the guise of psychiatrists who cannot define mental health at all. Haven't got a fucking clue what it is, but don't mind charging you $400 an hour to piss around and fuddle it with your various psychic diseases, which they have managed to name, some of them, but have no idea where they stem from, or how to ameliorate them. What they do is they make the subject individuals, the challenge subject individuals, easier to deal with. They provide a daily lobotomy. Zone you right out of existence so you're easier to manage. The Walking Dead is a psychiatrist's answer to conforming to a system. I was told by a world-renowned psychiatric priest, pope of priests, pope of psychiatrists, that mental health is adjusting to whatever system you're living within. So if you're living in a communist country, suck the communist dick. If you're living in George Bush's backyard, you suck his dick. This is mental health. This is a man whose specialty is human perversion. A man whose pièce de résistance, this creative masterpiece, is convincing men who are jerking off into women's underwear, or wanting to diddle kids, or wanting to get extemporaneous pictures of women's underwear and crotches and shit with cameras and stuff. All kinds of perversions. But aren't they really perversions? I mean, well, they're perversions in that they're self-satisfying. There's no benefit to the other party. So if I sneak into your house and jerk off in your wife's underwear, I may be your neighbor or whatever, but so you get no benefit from this. So I'm stealing from you. I'm not adding anything to you. So that's what makes it a perversion. Now, I might say, hey, you mind if I jerk off in your wife's underwear? Probably get a no answer. We get no answer from me, but I still want to be watching you guys jerk off in my wife's underwear. But you understand, so people are crazed, and men are crazed, and women are crazed, and you think the thing to do with each other is to torment and hurt each other, and the amount of hurt and torment that people are willing to put up with for you is an indication of their love for you. I do love you. I do. I don't like loving you, but I do. And the thing is, you need help. And I'm here to help. I don't want to hurt anyone. I want to hurt disease. I want to kill it, as much of it as possible. And every idol that exists on this planet is going to fall before I die. Before this body's gone, there will be no idols anywhere on this planet. So many of you are going to get ego suffering as a consequence of my existence, and you may want to kill me for this. And I invite you, you're more than welcome to do this, but what I'd like you to do before you do this is read Facts of Love books 1, 2, and 3. And then if you want to kill me, you will find out where to do that very easily by the time you've read those books. And, I don't hide from anyone. My life is an open book. And yours should be too. What do you need to hide, really? The truth of your own nature. So, I got 7 billion lonely people on this planet today. Women, men, every fucking body is lonely. Married, single, going steady, doesn't matter. And the reason you're lonely is because you don't know each other. You don't know yourselves. And so if I don't know me, and you don't know you, and we're both trying to bullshit each other about who, what we think, I think you want to know about what I think you want to think about me, and you do, but your little dog and pony show representing what you think I want to think about you. You get what I'm saying? And so that's not conducive to love. And love is what you want. Love is what you're missing. And it's what's making you crazy. It's what's making you mentally ill. It's what's making you diseased. It's helping you become more warlike than you already are. The complete inability to experience satisfaction in sex will have individuals turn to seeking satisfaction in guns. Check YouTube, listen to any old warrior who's still alive talk about his aviation kills. If he's a gunner, or if he's a pilot. 100% of them describe killing others as a subliminal sexual gratification. They don't see it themselves. They blind themselves to their own reality, you understand? But it's like the best cum I ever had. I shot down 3 enemy aircraft one afternoon. I killed 3 human beings. I destroyed multiple $100 million worth of equipment. I killed 3 human beings. And we feel good about this. Again, U.S. diplomacy, we see some subcontracting organization of mercenary killers that Obama has paid $250 million to go and bugger hump people in the Middle East, but not as U.S. military personnel. And we had the luxury today of seeing, these group of individuals in their Humvees running over Iraqi citizens, females, not males, we saw. A female got in the way, so they ran over and bother stopping, even acknowledging it, really. Opened their doors and firing automatic submachine gun fire at random into the civilian population of Iraq. It's not government, U.S. government. The U.S. government did this in Rwanda too. Some fucking general there just took a fucking swath out of fucking civilians because they got thrown out of the country and embarrassed. And so my understanding is that there was thousands of individuals mowed down, helpless individuals mowed down by the generosity of, again, the U.S. military largesse. Think about this. You're not too proud to strap a gun to your hip, but you're too proud to admit that you're in love with your boyfriend. Probably because you haven't got the guts to have a boyfriend. And you're beating some fucking unsuspecting female half to death for her whole fucking life, and she'd never figure out what she's done wrong. Beyond her ability to cognate that somebody can be this mean-spirited. But you see, liars are never content. Think about it.